I'm 32 and I've never consumed alcohol my entire life. This may sound unusual to some, but I personally don't see any benefit to drinking alcohol at all. As I've grown older and the more I learn, the more it makes sense to never ever try it. If you're someone who doesn't drink, whether you've quit or never tasted alcohol like me, then you can probably relate to what I'm going to say. I made this video because people like you and your stories inspire me in my commitment to continue living alcohol-free. This time, I want to give back by sharing my story and my perspective, so in return, I can also offer you encouragement to continue enjoying the sober lifestyle. I understand that it's also probably hard to always have to say no and to be pressured by the people around you. Being alcohol-free this long, I think I've heard it all. One common thing I hear is, your life is too restricted. Where is your freedom? Here's how I see it. People often think of choice as the only aspect of freedom. For every choice, there is a consequence. While many view freedom only as the ability to choose, I consider the consequences of my choices. What are the risks and consequences of drinking alcohol? Hangovers, chronic diseases like cancer, cardiovascular disease, liver disease, mental health problems, car accidents, crimes, broken homes, domestic abuse, date rape, unwanted pregnancy, wasted money, wasted time, a foggy brain, clouded judgment, a lack of clarity, a lack of focus. Is there freedom in any of these outcomes? I don't think so. And that's why I believe that alcohol does not and will never grant me true freedom. In fact, to drink alcohol is to give your freedom away. Abstaining from alcohol may not fix everything, but it sure does fix and prevent a lot of things. Another thing people tell me is that my life is boring and then I'm missing out on fun, parties, and socialization. That is true, but that's not all. There's actually much more that I'm missing out on too. I'm missing out on poor sleep, apologizing for things you don't remember, low-grade depression, bad social influence, and all the other negative effects of drinking that I just mentioned. Maybe I'm not as social as alcohol drinkers. Maybe I have fewer friends, but I get to have good quality relationships with the friends that I do have. People often use alcohol as a social crutch, a way to relax, celebrate, or release their inhibition, so they say. This is something I learned from Mark Manson's video about him quitting alcohol. If you need a drink to enjoy a person or a thing, then you don't actually enjoy that person or thing. I don't want to rely on alcohol to enjoy life. I want to see people and enjoy things as they are without being clouded or numbed by toxic substances. Because I don't drink, it helps me filter out who I want to spend time with and the kind of associations and what level of influence I choose to have them in my life. That is not to say that I don't make friends with people who drink alcohol. In fact, I do have friends who drink. However, I respect their choice and they also respect mine. They're not the ones who like to drag me down. For example, I have friends at work who like to drink moderately. There was one occasion when we had a small gathering and they knew I don't drink. It was very thoughtful of them to prepare alcohol for themselves while also providing a non-alcoholic drink specifically for me so I could still enjoy their company. I appreciate those kinds of friends, and those are the kind of people I like to keep. It ultimately depends on how you look at it. It also depends on preference and your priorities. And we, non-drinkers, sure have different preferences and priorities, whether it be health, religion, family, career, or life goals. Even though I'm missing out on a lot of things, I gain more from not drinking alcohol. On the outside, by other people's standards, people might think my life looks boring and dull, but I actually feel more peaceful, happy, and fulfilled. Bob Dylan once said, "Even if you don't have all the things you want, be grateful for the things you don't have that you don't want." Life without alcohol saves me time, money, and energy. Need I say more? Because I don't have to deal with the consequences of drinking alcohol. I can show up for my family, friends, and my patients at work at my best and be able to focus on the things that actually matter to me. What else? Better health. According to the World Health Organization, there is no safe amount of alcohol consumption. I say this as a healthcare professional. At the end of the day, alcohol is a drug. Alcohol is never healthy, not even a drop. Alcohol is classified as a Group 1 carcinogen and has been found to cause at least 7 different types of cancer. This is one of those rare situations in which a substance is not harmless at any dose. But what about red wine? I've heard people say that too. Some people argue that red wine is healthy due to its antioxidants. But when you look at the overall scientific consensus, the risks outweigh the benefits. I would rather get my antioxidants from healthier sources. Alcohol's contribution to cancer is underestimated for the same reason that its contribution to cardiovascular protection is overestimated. That being said, I sometimes find it strange how I am seen as the odd one for not drinking. I'm sure you know this feeling very well. Some people will get offended or defensive when they find out you don't drink. And you're not even telling them to stop drinking. They just get offended that you don't drink. You probably have people in your life who wonder, how is it possible that you could choose to live sober while they cannot do the same? I think most people are aware of the negative effects and consequences of alcohol. What it comes down to is how much you care about those risks. Now, I can only speak from my experience, but I do care enough about the risk and the consequences to align my actions with the knowledge that I do have based on what I have learned and observed in others. What they don't understand is that an alcohol-free life is not bondage at all. Living alcohol-free is not a burden. It's a privilege. How come I've never had alcohol? I was never exposed to it growing up. My parents and my grandparents don't drink alcohol. My grandpa used to drink, but then he quit way before I was born. My siblings and their families also don't drink, and I married a man who doesn't drink alcohol either. This lifestyle has a lot to do with our faith. At church and at home, I was taught that drinking alcohol is bad for my health, which is absolutely true and just common sense. However, I am also aware that some people are not as fortunate as I am. My husband, for example, had an opposite experience. He grew up with a family member who abused alcohol. He told me that he never felt safe at home. He dreads coming home after school because he might get verbally and or physically abused if that family member happened to be drunk, which occurred frequently. As a result, my husband decided to never drink alcohol. Learning about other people's experiences, like his, makes me feel grateful for the good choices that my parents and grandparents made, because I have a safe space in my own home, which is why I want to encourage people like you in your journey to keep living sober. I hope to not come across as I'm better than other people out there because I don't drink. But this needs to be said. Your children will thank you. I know that because that's how I feel about my parents and grandparents. I don't have to come home from school worrying about someone being drunk at home or having to walk on tiptoes to my room. Peace of mind. It is indeed a gift to your kids and grandkids. If health is wealth, then an alcohol-free home is a type of generational wealth. How do I handle social situations where alcohol is present? There was one time at a Christmas party at work where they provided unlimited free drinks to everyone. I chose to drink fruit juice and water. The bartender was very accommodating and nice. He actually prepared a non-alcoholic red wine, which I tried and it was good. If I know that a social event will have alcohol and I don't have anyone with me who doesn't drink, I reconsider attending. Like during that work Christmas party, my husband was with me, so I had someone sober to share the experience with. However, if I go to an event where I know I will most likely be the only one who won't drink alcohol, I prefer not to attend. Is it possible to achieve your goals while drinking alcohol? Sure. There are successful people in their fields who drink alcohol, but I still believe that there is nothing about alcohol that contributes positively to anything you do. I think that had these successful people not drunk alcohol, they would have achieved even more in their pursuits. Just in case there are viewers here that still choose to drink, please do so responsibly. It is important to know that less is better and none is best. But again, there is no dose of alcohol that is considered beneficial for your health. If you came this far in the video, please know that I respect your decision. You do you, your body, your call. That is your prerogative, and I have no control over that. Besides, I don't know your story. I appreciate the fact that everyone's story is different. Everyone's reasons are different. Actually, if you care to share, I'd love to know yours. But maybe you're here because you're curious about what your life could look like if you gave up on alcohol. And that must be a very difficult thing for you to change. I am aware that it's not always easy to quit substances like this. If you need assistance and support, there is great courage in asking for professional help.